Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. It's a big W to go home, your home opener, after struggling in your first 6 games to win 5-2. We desperately needed that. It doesn't matter how, just get it done. I have to admit, though, I feel more frustration than I probably should, so I want to acknowledge all of the positives before I get into why I'm disappointed. And just to throw it in there quickly so you can mentally prepare for where I'm going to go when I do get angry. Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson has been sleeping this entire start of the season. I am mind blown on how he was last season and where we are now and how quickly things have turned 180. Doesn't mean it'll continue forever. Does it mean he can't figure it out? Does it mean he won't wake up? I promise you, I think deep down he will wake up. But see what I'm doing? I'm already getting sidetracked and into where I truly want to go. But that would be doing a disservice to Trey Turner, to Kyle Schwarber, to Nick Castellanos, to JT Realmuto, and to some of these bullpen pieces who really shut the door because they helped out your manager. Sorry, I got a text message and I kind of got sidetracked here. I'm getting sidetracked all over the place. I'm going to put the phone on Do Not Disturb so I don't get blinded by the light when I receive another message here, because now a group chat's about to go off. But I digress. Let's talk about it. It was a bit of a tight rope that you were walking on. You have a lead. You think maybe we can apply more pressure by scoring more runs. Trey Turner ends up flying out. Alec Boehm with the chance to knock in some runs. He grounds out. So you realize there's activity on the base paths, but how come we're not coming across home plate? How come we're not scoring? And then Zack Wheeler, who looked better than he did in his first outing, him and Hunter Green going back and forth. Hunter Green's throwing 150 miles per hour. He's got 2 pitches. And when he loses control, though, with that fastball and the slider, it goes ugly pretty quickly. But it seems like you're throwing haymakers with the starters early on. When Zack Wheeler fell apart, we're talking bottom of the lineup. The Cincinnati Reds, bottom of the lineup. Ew. Gross. 7, 8, and 9. Ball's getting hit. 7, 8, 9. The game's tied 1-1. Now, the top of the order came up in that inning, and Zack Wheeler struck out India, which is huge. 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, leaking a bit of oil. That's where the line should have been drawn. That's where Rob Thompson should have realized, and he clearly did, because there was activity in the bullpen. So there was acknowledgement that Zach's day was getting to the end. In what universe do you go back to him in the 6th inning? It was smacking you in the face, Rob. That was obvious as hell. You do not go back to Zack Wheeler. Dumb decision. And I didn't even get to the lineup yet. Why, Rob? Why are you bringing up a Cody Clemens, Jake Clave, Marsh concept? Why is that even being brought up? It's bad. 3 lefties in a row. Did you see that 6th inning? Jake Clave, Clemens, and Marsh. They got mowed down with ease with 3 lefties in a row. The best way to go about business without Derek Hall in the lineup is simple. Let's not make this too difficult. Alec Boehm plays first, and Mundo Sosa plays third base. He's not putting his team in a position to win. Now, good for the bullpen. Bellotti has been great to this point. Soto has been shaky, but this time he delivered. Alvarado is in pure World Series form, even though when Rob went to him in the World Series when the season ended, it brings back a lot of pain. But I think it's safe to say that this version of Jose Alvarado is special. This guy's a different breed right now. He is locked in, and it's incredible to watch. And Craig Kimbrell got the save. I told you you'll have some versatility, especially early here where Seranthony doesn't look like he's where he needs to be yet. Soto has closed games in the past, but you definitely can't put him at the end of the ball game. I probably at some point would have went to Connor Brogdon instead of Soto, but it ended up working out today. But having the depth of guys who have done it before helps you out in this circumstance, and Craig was out. Your bullpen was good. Even after allowing a base runner, I'm sure everyone said, please, let's not have it look similar to the last time Craig was in a position to help win a ball game. He did it, but he was flirting with some possibilities of disaster. Just an uncomfortable feeling at times when guys are getting on base. You would think with the 3-run lead, though, that would be enough. Although we are discussing a Phillies team that we've watched over the years have some of the most historic bullpen failures of our lifetimes and in the history of the league. I want to make sure JT gets his praise. That thing was crushed. The second longest home run of his entire career. Castellanos had a purpose in that box, no? We were debating before the game started, is he going to get booed? Not so much off the rip, but what happens if they're down one, bases loaded, 7th or 8th inning, so a chance to put the Phillies up, and he pops up. Or he strikes out looking. Or he strikes out swinging on a pitch that's not even close to the strike zone. Do you hear grumbles, mumbles, grumbles, whatever the word I'm looking for is, out of the fans? And deflation in the ballpark. Boo! Double down the left field line. Double in the left field corner. The way he was running around first base and sliding. It was great. It was electric. It seemed like he had an arrogance about him. Maybe it has something to do with the buttons undone at the top of the jersey. I don't know. But I felt he answered the pressure. There's a bit of pressure on Nick Castellanos this year. And you get to your first home game after having a very bad series in New York, an okay series in Texas, one that I would take out of him. Because it's his first couple of at-bats of the year. It could have went a lot worse. His first home series, though, some attitude in him. A little pep in the step. Thought it was awesome. Tremendous. Schwarber helping out. Turner's speed. The slide at home plate. Very mobile on those base paths. I feel like he's on base every game. Every game, every at-bat. I'm looking up. Trey Turner's on base. Trey Turner's getting a single up the middle. Trey Turner's able to get on base and then snag a base. Or go from first to third or first to home. He's a pest. He's a pest. And Castellanos' walk in the 7th, I just want to highlight it. Important at bat. I need to look at how he approaches every single pitch. Where's his head at? It's important to me. So I think I covered all the basics when it comes to this win, right? Covered all angles? I think so. Okay. I'm bothered by Rob. I think he's been a disaster to this point. I asked for logic. You can't tell me Cody Clemens is logic. You can't tell me that over at first base. And what pisses me off, and I don't know why he's doing this, part of me wondered, is he trying to make a message to the team that you're on this roster, you are a part of us? We know Rob is a very team-friendly guy. He's very player-oriented. He's all about being a player's manager, which is great. I got no issue with being a player's manager in this league and how athletes are coddled now. That's the way you really have to go. The old school guys, they don't stick around very often much. And if you do, it's a rare breed. So, did he want to tell Cody Clemens, I don't care that it's opening day. I don't care how big the stage is. You know this team has been struggling. You know they underachieved on the road. They got swept in Texas. Fans aren't happy. You dropped the series in New York. You went to Yankee Stadium and lost 2 of 3. I don't care. We believe in you. We want you out there. You deserve the nod. Now, I don't know why he deserved the nod. You look at his career statistics, and they're not very good. I don't care what he did in spring training, because if that's the case, Scott Kingery would have been here instead of Pache, who was going to get moved on from the Oakland A's. His career was going to be over. Life support, if it wasn't already over. So spring training clearly doesn't mean anything. Alec Boehm over at first, and Mundo Sosa in the game is how it should go. And Mundo Sosa's at the dish, and he's smacking a home run. That's the best product on the field. I don't care about a lefty bat in there. I don't care. Because clearly you look at the bottom of the lineup, that was irrelevant. So I know they'll pretend, well, the lefty, the best product on the field is what I asked for out of Rob. Boehm to first. And the audacity for the statement before the game began from Rob, making sure it's, hey, Alec Boehm is our third baseman. Why? Why? Is that I don't know, because of the defense that Boehm provides sometimes? There's knocks on Alec Boehm. So he's letting the Phillies fandom and the Major League Baseball world know that Alec Boehm's the third baseman. It shouldn't matter. See, I was always in the mindset of when Rhys Hoskins moved next year, because it was obvious they didn't pay him the money. He was going to become a free agent. Scott Boras and Rhys will get paid if he stayed healthy. And then Boehm moved to first, and then you'd find a third baseman somewhere, and then Dave Dombrowski would get cute and do what he needs to do in the offseason and find ways to improve the roster. But Boehm would make the transition over to first. Why was there such an emphasis on demanding Boehm have to play third? I don't give a damn where you play. If he needs to be at first base because of injuries, he goes to first base. Is he fragile? Is there something to last year and all those comments made when he was on the field when he made errors? There shouldn't be. He should be able to handle that. And speaking of Boehm, ever since the first game of the season, there hasn't been much power. So is that just a blip or reality? Is the power reality? Or was it just a first game of the year? Put one in the stands? And then we're back to reality. Little bloops. I told you, I didn't want to let it all out there in just a negative light because they did win the baseball game, and we have demanded them to sweep this series. With these 6 games at home, we need 5 wins, and they did that today. Wasn't pretty, and it shouldn't matter how it looks because of where they were to start the season. And you need to get a couple wins under your belt, regardless on how it goes down, just to feel good. Just to hear the win song, to hear the fans, to dance in the locker room, to dap each other up after the game's over. All that is important into the journey of success. So I find it important. Losing would have been a huge disappointment and egregious. I'm just mad at Rob. I don't get it. I don't get Rob. He's got no feel on the game right now. Lineup-wise, comments before games, bullpen decisions. Why force Zack Wheeler back out? He had 0 left in the tank. The bottom of the Reds lineup were smacking the baseball around to get them back in the ball game. And you force him back out there? Yes, he's your ace. But it's his second start of the year. Knowing he went deep last season, knowing that his arm isn't where it needs to be, and if your argument is, how else will he stretch out? He'll stretch out, I promise you. And now you're asking poor Bellotti to get out of something sticky when you could go to your pen with a clean slate, with nobody on base. Why it irritates me is because of how obvious it is. I didn't want to use the word obvious again, but that's what it is. Some things are calculated risks. I'm okay with risks. Let's look at football, for example. Teams that are aggressive tend to have the upper hand. 4th down, 4th and 3, calculated risk. There's times, though, where it goes from calculated risk that I can respect to just stupidity or too aggressive. I like when guys are aggressive on the base paths. It's a calculated risk to take second. It's a calculated risk to go from first to third. There's a lot of things that I can wrap my head around. But then there's times where it's just stupid to try and grab second. There's context surrounding each time this goes down. Where are you in the game? What's the score of the game? Where are you with your lineup? Are you struggling to produce runs? Yada, yada, yada. So there's plenty of things that surround each scenario that pops up or each example that reflects maybe the stupidity or the proper level of aggressiveness. Rob right now is in stupidity with the decision to keep Aaron Nola in the game to start the season when it was 5-2 after a bases loaded double, which then resulted in a 5-5 tie ball game because Aaron Nola got nuked after that because he was hitting a wall, which everybody saw. And the Marte debacle, nobody in the world with a brain would have thought that Marte would have kept this thing a close ball game. And of course, it didn't happen. And now the Wheeler thing. You won because your stars showed up, which is great. That matters. That's huge. I feel that. I do. And I'm happy and proud that that happened. We needed JT. And boy, did he crush a missile. Put him up too. You could feel everyone lose that tension in the dugout and in the ballpark because you drop that one to the Reds and it's a mess. And Nick and Schwartz and Turner, beautiful baseball. They made up for Rob's poor managing, which is going to happen in the game over 162. But so far to this point, doesn't seem like Rob has a grasp on things. And that's hurting me right now. I'm having a hard time getting past that. But I'm highlighting the strengths. I'm highlighting the core that matters most. The positives today and those players hitting the baseball around the diamond. That's important. Very, very, very important. But off to the side, Rob's eating me away. And before we go to the Anytime Hotline, Bryce Harper hitting B-Way, hitting home runs, pacing through the dugout, throwing the ball with one hand, up and down, screaming at Turner with juice when Turner gets on the bases. This guy's going to be back sooner than we all thought. That's why the Phillies didn't put him on the 60-day IL. And also, not to pat myself on the back here, but I was angry when he waited so damn long to get his surgery done. Think about where he might possibly be now if he got it done weeks earlier because he waited and he waited and he waited and he waited. Especially with all these injury news, which is problematic because there's a lot of guys down and out. Just saying. But he's going to be back soon. The Phillies are pretending like the timeline is not seen and the timeline is still ways away, and they're very careful with the way they're describing it, just in case there's a setback. The Phillies are somewhat lying to us just because of a possibility of it accidentally having a setback. If there's no setback, Bryce is on the horizon. He's hitting insane home runs with power in BP and feeling no pain. And the team is off to a slow start. I don't know how much that is in effect here with him itching to get out there to help the squad out. I think he's back. Some were saying, Jen Scordo and Ty said they're feeling late May. I'm saying maybe the first week of June. Regardless, though, I can't wait because, man, I think of the Braves series. I think of the Padres series almost every single day while I'm drinking my cup of coffee in the morning. Anyway, all right, I'll shut up and we'll listen to you all. How's that sound? Because I'm sure you guys are all sick and tired of me.
Smooth baseball game played by the Philadelphia Phillies out here. I'm very excited that it was just fun. The fundamentals were there, you know. JT Realmuto, I think, was player of the game. He got that caught stealing, and he got the go-ahead home run. He was awesome, magnificent. Castellanos was really good tonight as well. That was awesome. Trey is I like Trey. I like Trey. I love Trey. I love Trey. I don't agree too much. I don't know about Rob Thompson's decision keeping Wheeler in there. You see, I'm trying to think of, you know, maybe an excuse he had. Maybe he thought, oh, it's the Reds, you know. But no, I'm not going to lie. The Reds didn't look, you know, that pathetic as they usually do. Maybe it was just a good game by them, but, you know, we'll see how it plays out this series.
Reds stink. Rob, you were saying maybe there was an excuse. There's no excuse. That's why it's difficult for me to swallow this. That's why it's hard for me to let it go. And I don't want to feel this way. I really don't. For some reason, and I think it's a combination of a lot of things. The road trip we just saw, it's hard for me to close my eyes and pretend that didn't happen. They're 1-5 through 6, and I'm aggravated. So them winning one baseball game in the way that it kind of went down when it seemed like it was closer than it should have been, and I wanted them to kind of come out with more of a burst, and I wanted to see a nice 7-1 beatdown where you see the offense explode, you see a bunch of home runs, you know, you just see a team that's forming together at home with their fans behind them, because this is what I heard through the first 6. Maybe it's they just want to get home to hear the fans. Maybe they just need to get back to South Philadelphia because it's dead in Texas. And, you know, Texas isn't this big atmosphere of playing baseball. And they just came from the World Baseball Classic. And they just came from the postseason run. And my argument back was, I'm sorry, excuse me? You can't get ready for opening day? You can't get ready for a new season to start? You can't get ready emotionally and physically to play a baseball game after you just lost in the damn World Series and you have an awful taste in your mouth? You need to get home in front of your own fans for you to get yourself excited? That's a problem to me. That's a problem to me. You're not the team you think you are if that's what you need. But if that's the case, that's what they needed, well, then show me it in game 1. And it didn't really feel that way, even though I'm proud that they won the game. I just need to see a lot more, and I break down games on the daily, so this is kind of the post-game show of a good win, and I'm bottling up a lot of the first 7 games in this because I saw some things that reflected the losing baseball from the manager. I know, it's bad. It's bad. You brought up great points, and you can see me trying to justify why I feel this way right now because I shouldn't be this mad, but I am still mad. JT, awesome defensively. Great throw down the second base. Bigger bases, who the hell cares? This guy's still throwing it with a cannon. I'm laughing, though, because you go, Trey? I love Trey. Trey, yeah, Trey's a difference maker, man. I almost feel because he was in L.A. with the Dodgers, with the team that was such a force, you just think of the Dodgers and know all their players are sensational. You just know they're all great. So instead of individually thinking about them as their own talents, it's that lineup rakes. But when you take one away, remove them, and put them in this lineup, you get to see the day-to-day grind of what they do and how active they are. And even though we saw Trey Turner in Washington, it's different when it's your own guy. And it's every AB and it's every pitch. Let's go back to the phones.
Yes, sir. Now that's the Phillies we like to see. I mean, they're, with all the injuries, you know, just win at this point. It doesn't have to be stylish. Just get it done, and they did today. like you said, Hunter, I think they need to sweep this series. I mean, the Reds are total garbage. There's no reason the Phillies shouldn't go out here and get 2 more W's, but you take them one at a time.
Is that it?
In the season where you've got a hell of a lot of time to right the ship. Glad to see the bullpen came through, some timely hitting. You just got to keep it together. I mean, hopefully the pitching continues to do well and at least keep them in the games. Still waiting for that big-time offensive explosion, but after the last couple games, 5 seems like an astronomical amount. So, good win today.
The arms, I think, will produce as they get more outings under their belt. I don't believe that they prepared themselves properly for spring training or for the regular season. The spring training might have not have been as preparing as it needed to be. They weren't ready day one by design, unfortunately. The way the Phillies handled their guys, they didn't want the pitchers to be where they needed to be for day one. That's the way they approached this. So some of the knock goes on the Phillies, some of the knock goes on them, and it may cost you some games here. Soto, 40 games in, will look different than Soto the first 3 games. Sir Anthony is an example. We've watched Sir Anthony pitch now for years here. We know what he's capable of. So far this season, how has Sir Anthony looked to you? Because it looks like a guy that needs his arm stretched out still. It looks like a guy that is in spring training mode. Why? Because they didn't use spring training to get them to where they need to be for regular season. The arms, I'm not as worried about. You'll be getting Ranger back. I like Strom, and I think he's got that mental makeup too. You need the skill more than the mental makeup, but he's got something about his personality of wanting the ball, wanting to be out there, embracing this style of city. I even remember him making certain remarks when the signing happened about the Philadelphia market and this level of fan base compared to other cities and all that. So that rubbed me the right way when that signing happened by Dave Dombrowski. But yeah, the arms, fine. Even the offense, I think it'll get itself going. Schwarber's earlier than expected. I think Turner will eventually have the power. The question really is 2 guys right now. 2. Because I know what Turner does. I know what Schwarber does. I know what JT can do. And I don't expect JT to be as bad as he was in the beginning of last season. Remember how bad it was? And then he turned it around, and from June or July on, I forget which month. I know it started with a J. He was leading the whole entire league in OPS. So the tear he went on was ridiculous. What is Bohm and what is Nick? Is Nick just a doubles machine? Does Nick have pop? Is Bohm a single hitter? Does Bohm have pop? With these injuries, you lost 2 power bats in Hall and in Reese. Who's going to step up from that? Bohm and Nick. I love Nick's approach today. But what are they? Time will tell us. Time will tell us.
You know, bro, this is why I equated the start of the Phillies season to like the Eagles going 3-0, right? You're allowed to be pissed off. You're allowed to be upset. But at the end of the day, it's a marathon. So plenty of time. Still plenty of time to figure some shit out. Listen, I know it wasn't perfect today, but I thought the Phillies looked pretty damn good. Nick Castellanos had a really nice bounce-back game. I think he went 3 for 4, 2 for 4, something like that. Trey Turner was excellent. Listen, this was a game that I think the Phillies kind of needed. I was at the stadium. I had a great time. And, I just felt like that was a game that kind of shifts the season because just of how the team kind of rallied around the crowd and I don't know, just being home, I feel like it's good for them.
Well, it is good for them. Nick went 2 for 3, though. I didn't think he had a 4 in there. He went 2 for 3, and he walked in the 7th. I can't go as far as saying this game's going to turn them around. You could probably convince yourself that after every single win. They come out tomorrow afternoon and throw up a stinker, and it is what it is. Look, you're playing bad teams in Cincinnati and Miami. We put a not a bar, but we put expectations on these 6 games as 5-1 for a reason. They weren't as bad as 1-5. So when you say they turn it around, they're not a 1-5 every 6 baseball team. That's not who they are. They are a good baseball team. So just organically, you're going to win more baseball games because there's more talent on this team than the 1-5 start projects. I can't say that this win is this huge turning point because of the home field and all. It's just not enough of a sample size for me. It was a good win, though. It was a very good win, and I'm jealous that you were in the ballpark. Now, maybe this stand, I think I can go there. That's where I will agree with you. This home stand has the ability to get them back on a path that I can support. A 5-1, a 6-0, even a 4-2 would be okay in theory, even though it just feels a certain type of way because of how disappointing the first 6 were, which I still can't get out of my head, as you can tell, as I mentioned 25 times already. But I don't lie to the people. I keep it 100 with the people. And I didn't realize I already went 31 minutes. So, anytime Hotline's getting shut down. And that's where we end. I'm leaving. I'm shutting this down. Okay. Thank you, guys. Talk to you all pretty damn soon.